friends, this is Amanda from Twiddler's Nook with a super fun Lawn Fawn card featuring the fox costumes, before and after, stamps and dies, and the Lots of Hearts background stencils. I have my Distress Oxides today. We're using peacock feathers and cracked pistachio, an A2 size piece of cardstock, and a 2 by 4¼ inch piece, or by 5½ inch, piece of cardstock. And we're just going to ink blend the Distress Oxides on most of the panel, working to get a really good blend, and then leaving a little bit of space at the bottom because we're going to cover it up in the end. It's not a big deal. Then we're going to use some white pigment ink. I have the Hero Arts Unicorn White and a blending brush over the Lots of Hearts stencil. I absolutely should have taped this stencil down. I don't know what I was thinking, but I held it in place and just inked it up for a little subtle texture in the background. I love the way that it turned out. It's just enough, and it's super fun. Now we're going to pull out the Misty and stamp that one bee fox image, and I'm using my pressure pal to get a good impression so that you don't have any like squished areas where the lines are thicker or anything. It's really nice for that. And then I'm just going to do some quick Copic coloring. I tried to put the marker caps in the view of the camera so that you could see what colors I used, but I have a habit of holding on to the caps while I'm coloring. It's just something that I've always done. I don't know. So I have to get better at remembering to set them down so that you can see what colors I'm using. So most of these little areas have like a 3 marker blend. Sometimes when they're a smaller area, I might do just like 1 or 2 because they're just so small. There's not enough space to really do any blending. And on this little fox, I had a hard time blending his forehead area. I didn't like the way that was turning out. So I went back in with the mid-tone and then with the light tone. And once it dries much more smooth. I like the way that ended up in the end. So, and then adding a little bit of color to his face so that it's not super stark white, just a little bit of shadow, and then some tint for his ears and for the wings, that BV000 and the BG10. I love that combo for wings on critters and any sort of images. I'm going to line up the coordinating die and just cut that out real quick. So cute. Love the way he turned out. And there's our ink blended panel. Gonna pull out the sentiment that we want to use, that be yourself, and the buzz is a super fun little sub image. When I do a design like this, I like to have something break up the transition between the inked panel and the white panel. So I added a 1/4 inch strip of black cardstock above where I'm gonna stamp my sentiment, and then I was going to use my Misty to stamp the Buzz, but I decided I wanted to do 2nd generation stamping, so I just used an acrylic block real quick instead. Now we're going to add some foam tape to the back of this white panel so that it sticks up just a little bit and pop it in place on the ink blended panel. Then we're going to add foam squares to part of the fox where it doesn't overlap the white portion, and then some liquid glue on his feet so that everything lays nice and flat. It's all the same amount of foam thickness. Then we're going to pull out the Sweethearts clay embellishment mix from Twiddler's Nook and pour it in my paw embellishment tray and figure out where we want to put those, and then use some liquid glue to adhere those down. I put a little red one next to the sentiment, thinking that would be just a cute little exclamation at the end of it. Then I wasn't sure if I wanted to stick with the red or switch to pink so everything was the same, but I do really like the way that is a little bit different than the ones in the sky. So we're going to use some liquid glue and add this to a card base, and then move on to some simple finishing touches. I love black glaze pen on noses and eyes and things because it makes it a little bit raised and shiny, and it makes it stand out a little bit. And then unicorn stickles is by far my favorite one, so that's what we're going to add to the antenna and the wings. And we are finished with this card. It's super adorable. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a great day.